Oi! Yes. What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday night. We have got our first UFC pay-per-view of the year coming up this Saturday. UFC 270. Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane. And tonight here on Balls Deep Breakdown with me, your host, Uncle Weezy, we will be checking out all the stats and going balls deep into all those numbers and the stylistic matchups here that we've got to talk about between Deiveson Figueiredo and the champion Brandon Moreno. I can't wait to break this fight down with you guys. I can't wait to interact with you guys in the chat, see what you guys are on for this fight. But very first thing that we have to do tonight on Balls Deep Breakdown with me, your host, Uncle Weezy, is for me to thank you, everybody who watches my videos, everybody who presses that thumbs up button when they're watching my videos, and most of all, those of you who have pressed that subscribe button to let me know and let YouTube know that you want to know when I'm doing content. You guys have gotten me to 1,000 subscribers in less than 1 year of doing mixed martial arts content here on YouTube. I'm humbled. I'm blown away, and I am more motivated than ever to keep providing you guys with even better UFC statistical and analytical content for you guys to use to make your betting decisions. I'd like to thank each and every one of you that watches my videos and has subscribed to my channel. It means so much to me. And like I say, you guys, I'm so fired up for 2022. I'm looking to improve everything about what it is that I do here on this channel, the analysis, the way that the data is presented to you guys. I'm going to try to use all the features that StreamYard has to offer, so that the artwork, everything is of the quality that you guys deserve who watch my videos. So once again, thank each and every one of you for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. I couldn't be happier about it, and I can't be more fired up to get into 2022 with you guys for the first pay-per-view card of the year and do the first balls deep breakdown of the first pay-per-view card of the year. Deiveson Figueiredo versus the assassin baby, Brandon Moreno. You guys, let's talk to the chat here, see what you guys are up to right now. We got my guy Big J was the first in the room saying Smooth Jimmy here nice and early, and Smooth Jimmy was ready. He was out of makeup. It's the first pay-per-view event of the year, so he's chomping at the bit to get into it with you guys. We got Daz Files saying hi, 10K or 1K Weezy, or 1.01K Weezy. Figgy Smart training with Henry Cejudo. Good choice for a balls deep. Yeah, I mean, the co-main is one of the best fights on the card, obviously, but I was talking with my guy DFS by the numbers about this earlier. I'm like, what fight should I do a balls deep breakdown for? And he's like, man, I don't know, man. Like, all these fights are like minus 250 or even lower. So it's kind of hard to find a close fight. And the closest one that isn't the main event is this one right here. And maybe the Demopolis Juarez fight. And that was just me interacting with Jay and Daz. We got my guy F. Carrillo in the room saying, Unc, what's up, F. Carrillo? Good to see you in here, brother. You're always a big supporter of Stat Diggers, and I appreciate that, my man. Daz File saying the Figgy that wrestles bulls in his village, hopefully, is the Figgy that we will get this time. Hopefully, and comes with the Cejudo game plan. Well, we're going to have to talk about that, because that is going to be key. And Daz File saying bull wrestling Figgy with the Cejudo game plan. And Victor Jesus saying Figgy getting choked once again in the late rounds. My guy Monk here saying, what up, Weezy? What up, chat? Yeah, and Victor, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. That would be how I don't see Moreno knocking out Figgy. I think if he finishes Figgy inside the distance, it'll definitely be via some kind of a choke. Daz Files saying, what's up to Monk? We got DFS by the numbers saying, oi! Yes. And we got Addicted to Combat saying Moreno dismantles Figgy like one of his Lego sets again. Wow. And we got Monk saying at Daz Files, what's good? We got my guy Lou bet you in the room. Stay tuned later on this year for Dinner with Lou. But he is the guy that is helping me with my database, and we've got some irons in the fire, me and this cat and DFS by the numbers. Can't wait to talk about that with you guys somewhere down the road. But good to see my guy Lou Betya here in the room. Big ups to you, brother. We got Daz Files saying, "Oi, Brady, the $ not automatic at 1,000 subs, I see. Knowing YouTube need apply for it." Yes, and I have actually applied for YouTube to take it into consideration that maybe I should have one of those $ videos or $ icons on my videos so you can donate to me on the stream. But, we got to wait for the people at YouTube to see whether I am worthy of that. But I am worthy of you guys and your attention as you've given me 1,000 subscribers. So no matter what YouTube says, I appreciate everybody subscribing to my channel. It means so much. And then we've got Tattooing Dream saying, "Yo, Weezy is on. The MMA personality I'd most like to smoke a joint with on the back porch." My man, that sounds heavenly right about now. Actually, it doesn't, simply because the back porch in Chicago right now is freezing cold. It's covered with snow and ice, and it might be best just to say, you know what, maybe the house is going to stink a little bit tomorrow, but we're smoking the joint inside. Either way, I appreciate you being here with us, man. It's much appreciated. We got Gargantua saying, "Weez, good to see you in here, Gargantua." And Tattooing Dream saying, "You deserve it, brother. I appreciate that." And we got Lou Betya saying, "I have a sneaky suspicion that number going to be 5K in a few months." That would really be something if it was. I would be so stoked if I got 5K by the end of like 2024. But man, it's just where I'm at right now. It's hard to even believe that I've gotten to this point. Such a huge goal to have accomplished, and I have all you guys to thank for it. And Addicted to Combat saying, "The Uncle Weezy stats helped make me profitable for 2021. No doubt about it. Thank you." Thank you for watching, though, Addicted to Combat, because it would be pointless for me to sit here and talk to the ether and have nobody listening while I got all these spreadsheets with all these stats. We got Victor saying, "Thank you, Unc, you're the man." We got Gargantua saying, "Let's get it." We got the Cuban Assassin saying, "What are the chances that Keith Peterson gets the call for Francis and Gane?" I don't think that'd be a good choice, man, the way that those guys hit, man. You need somebody that's willing to stop fights before these guys lose half their brains. And if you ever get hit with a big shot by Ngannou, you have to be fast in there, because he's the kind of guy who comes down with that big canned ham of a fist of his and he lands it right on your Adam's apple after he's already knocked you unconscious. It's happened a couple of times. Herb Dean was slow one time. And then there was another one with I think there was the referee's name was one of the best referee names I've ever heard. And I might be wrong about this, but I think the guy's name was like Jim Hosegood. Hosegood. Anyway, Jim Hosegood was a little bit slow on the draw when Francis knocked out his first opponent. I believe it was Luis Enrique. And he separated Luis from his consciousness. And then when Luis was down and unconscious, he came in with that big hand ham. It landed right on the dude's throat. And it was the same exact thing, I think, that happened to Stipe when Herb was a little bit slow on the draw, stopping Francis from getting that second shot in. So whoever is reffing this fight, they're going to need to be fleet of foot in case anybody gets knocked out, so that they don't lose any additional brain cells that aren't necessary to be lost in a fight of this quality, in a fight where there's this much at stake. And to have Keith Peterson in there, the later it gets, the less sober he is. So, yeah, I don't know if it'd be a good choice, Cuban Assassin. We'll have to wait and see. And we got Dizzy Spider 45 saying, "Most UFC debuts on pay-per-view ever with price money increase. Dana needs to step it up." That's interesting. I didn't even think about that, because we've got Gennaro Valdez, we've got Simon Oliveira, we've got Jack Della Maddalena, and we've got his opponent. I forget his name right now. I know it's Pete. Well, anyway, it's up here on my screen. I'll share the screen with you shortly. There's a lot of people making their debut, and that is very interesting. there, Dizzy Spider. Good to see you in the chat. I haven't seen you in here before. Big ups for joining us. Appreciate it. Santos saying, thoughts on Saeed Nurmagomedov versus Cody Stamen? Lots of hype on Saeed. Cody, a good dog. I see why Saeed's the favorite, but it's hard to bet these Nurmagomedovs and think that you're going to get any value because of the tax that there is on the Russian names and then the Nurmagomedov name on top of that. That being said, Saeed manages distance when he strikes very well. He throws a variety of spinning attacks, which can catch you in the liver, just like Giga can. And his wrestling defense is actually pretty good. It wasn't until Hani Barcelos caught a kick to get a takedown in the third round against Saeed Nurmagomedov that we really saw him controlled on the ground for a while. And because he's so good at managing distance when he's striking, and because he's so long for the division, it might be really hard for Kenny to get in there and close the distance, or I'm sorry, Stamen to get in there and close the distance and use that wrestling game that he's really going to need to use if he's going to win minutes against Saeed, because Saeed is very difficult to win minutes against on the feet when you have like a 5-inch reach disadvantage and a 5-inch height disadvantage, which I believe is what the measurables are for that fight. So I see why Saeed's a favorite, but I think it might be a little bit bigger of a favorite than he should be. But man, Cody is going to have to wrestle for his life. And I think it's going to be very difficult for him to outbox this guy. So I'm picking Cody. I'm picking Saeed, but I think, if Cody can really step up that wrestling game and win minutes there, it could wind up being really close. We got my guy Chris for the Love MMA, one of my first watchers of any of my videos. I appreciate you, Chris, saying, "Oi, Unc, I already have Moreno money line and a 2-legger. I'm not sure Cejudo can help him here too much. Pressure by Brandon." Got it, man. Yeah, dude. I don't know how long Team or Figueiredo's been at Team Fight Ready, but I know that he's had his own team, Team Figueiredo, for so long. So I think it's kind of funny. It says something about that team when the head of the team leaves, and it's like, I'm going to Fight Ready because you guys aren't getting me ready for Brandon Moreno. So very interesting there. We'll see how it all shakes out for him. We'll see if there's any improvements here. But the first thing that I'd like to see in terms of improvements is that he weighs in on weight and doesn't look like he's dead on the scale, which would scare me off of him. And we've got a Dizzy Spider say 1K is just the tip. I love it. And we got Lou Betya saying, if there was only some kind of MMA engine that could drive your advertising, we'll have to see if there could be some kind of an MMA engine out there that could drive things for all of us. Give us the kind of decision-making skills that we need to win big money GPPs on DraftKings and FanDuel, or beat the lines on money lines and props. You never know, man. There might be some things in the work somewhere. There might be some tools, some irons in the fire, where a few months down the road we see some new players here in the space. You never know, Lou Betcha. We'll see what's going on here. We got Bout Better saying Ngannou hit Rosenstruik like 5 times when he was out. That's right, he did. I don't know who was reffing that day, but that was so fast. We got Bout Better saying we got crappy lines except for the main event. Yeah, dude, a lot of these lines are so juiced. A lot of big favorites on this card. And Monk saying 38.5% on fighters on this pay-per-view do not have a single UFC win. Wow, that's wild. 3 ace. That's nuts, man. And then we've got Bout Better saying 5 Contender Series debutantes. Yes. Monk saying fading 4 of these fools at least. And Bout Better saying Cody can blanket him. Yeah, potentially. He could potentially do that, but Saeed's so long, and you look at his wrestling defense, in particular in the Barcelos fight, it did hold up for most of the fight. He's very difficult to get dominant positions on in the grappling, but Cody is an expert at creating those positions and using his game plan to set up the kind of entries that he needs to get to those positions. UFC betting experience saying Saeed really slowed down in the third versus in the fights where he grapples. Yes, because he also moves a lot when he strikes. He's very fleet of foot, so that takes energy as well. Monk saying that the numbers for DWCS fighters winning in their UFC debut is super low. It is. Bout Better saying value on Figgy and Ngannou. And Daz File saying likes to bet on skills will be on Brandon and gone. Yeah, for sure, man. And then we got Bobby Boucher saying it's him. We got Bobby Boucher in the room. Always good to have the water boy with us here. And you know who else we're going to have with us here, you guys? It's going to be one smooth Jimmy Apollo. We're going to see if he is out of hair and makeup again, because he was out of hair and makeup like 5 hours ago. And I was like, Jimmy, we're not going live for like 5 hours, man. But he was just too fired up. But now I think they slathered a few more layers of shackle to that face of his. And I think he is ready to go. Bam. There he is, you guys. Smooth Jimmy Apollo, right 52% of the time. Let's see if he's right on this one. Let's see if your Uncle Weezy is right on this one. It's time to break down all the stats for the UFC 270 co-main event. Deiveson Figueiredo, the Deuce de Guerra, the God of War, against the assassin baby, Brandon Moreno. All right, you guys, let's bring it up here. Let's get right to it. So I've got some odds up here. I've got the Tapology page with these guys' information on it. You know, I've got my tape index here. Shout out MMA Lock of the Night for this great tool here to watch tape on all the fighters that are coming up here. And we got Francis Ngannou, Cyril Gane, Moreno, Figueiredo, everybody that's on this card. You can watch fights from their past as long as you have ESPN Plus and UFC Fight Pass. You can access all these great fights to watch, which I've been watching all day. Gano tape, and then Figueiredo and Moreno. It's been so much fun. I love my job, you guys. We got some UFC stats up here on the screen. Wanted to see what the UFC was listing Rosenstrike at. He's claiming to be 6'2" when he's 5'11". So I always thought that was funny. But we have got, the most importantly here, we have got the matchup template that your Uncle Weezy's always looking out for you guys, and I make it available for free in the description of this video. You can click on the link for this, and you can get the stats for every single fight on this card. Jordan versus Topuria, Vieira versus Turman, Stamen versus Nurmagomedov, the main event, all 13 fights on this card. We got all the statistics for. Feel free to download it. Use it to help you make your gambling decisions. Also in the description of this video, I have links to Stat Diggers, which my guy DFS by the Numbers and I did last night on Pub Sports Radio. That is a great show. We always give an early look for all the fights on the upcoming card. And then also in the link there is the main event breakdown that I did on DFS by the Numbers YouTube channel earlier today, where we broke down the Gane fight from start to finish, from top to bottom, from left to right, from Jersey to LA, baby. We got it all. So check that out. It's all in the description of this video. But let's start like we always do on Balls Deep Breakdown here with the tail of the tape. And we see that Brandon Moreno, 6 years younger than the God of War here. He is 2 inches taller and has a 2-inch reach advantage. So really nice tail of the tape advantages here for Brandon Moreno. And then when we look at the experience numbers, even though Brandon Moreno is 6 years younger than Deiveson Figueiredo, he actually has more pro fights than Deiveson does, with 26 professional fights to 23 for Figueiredo, and over 100 more minutes in the pro cage for Brandon Moreno. So, and he's also been doing this almost 1 year longer as a professional mixed martial artist. We can see that Brandon Moreno, at the age of 27, having a 10-year and 1 month career. This guy started fighting when he was 17 years old as a professional mixed martial artist. And Deiveson Figueiredo started at the age of 24, having a 9-year career. And then if we look at the UFC experience between these guys, we see that it's Deiveson Figueiredo who has one more fight at the UFC level, but it's Brandon Moreno who has about 25 more minutes in the UFC cage. The average fight time for these guys in the UFC, 10.5 minutes for Deiveson and 13.99 minutes for Brandon Moreno. And then if we look at the finish stats, we see some big-time finish numbers here for flyweights. Ever since 2013 in the UFC, flyweights have finished their fights about 43% of the time. And we see that in their UFC fights, 7 of 9 Figueiredo wins inside the distance, and Brandon Moreno has finished 57% of his 7 wins inside the distance. So 4 and 7 is 11. 11 of their 16 wins have come inside the distance. So just under 75% of these guys' combined wins in the UFC have been inside the distance, so they finish at a much higher rate than the featherweight or than the flyweight division does. And then when we look at how they lose fights, particularly in the UFC in this case, we see that Brandon Moreno in 2 losses has never been finished, and Deiveson Figueiredo in 2 losses has been finished once by submission by Brandon Moreno. Excuse me. All right, I'm back. Just had to hack up a lung there for a second, and I'm going to wash it down with a little bit of a fresh Paloma, which I just made before I started the show here. All right. So, 4 combined losses, only 1 of them have come inside the distance, but not in the 16 wins, 11 of them coming inside the distance. So these guys are great finishers for the featherweight division, but they're also very durable, both of them. It really wasn't until we saw that bad Figueiredo the second time, the guy that probably, well, not probably, he just wasn't himself. He didn't look like himself in the rematch against Brandon Moreno. We all know he had a very difficult weight cut. He did make weight, but it seemed to take just a ton out of him. And even though that's happened in the past and he's looked great on fight day, this Deiveson Figueiredo was getting out-volumed from the stretch. He really wasn't dangerous at all. It was a Deiveson Figueiredo that I had never really seen before. So yeah, we gotta count on, if you're betting on the Figueiredo side, and especially if you're doing it before weigh-ins, you're taking a bit of a chance. But so far, the chatter seems to be on MMA Twitter that Figueiredo is on weight and he's managing this very well over at Fight Ready right now, and that they're going to have him ready to make weight and be the Deiveson Figueiredo at 100% that we're used to seeing here. But, there's no way to know until fight day whether that's going to be the case or not. And then let's see here. We got Bob Better saying the Ngannou money line is the same as him by TKO. Yeah, in some places I heard it was even worse, which is funny. But yeah, like that's how he wins fights. 100% of Francis's fights have finished in. 100% of his wins have finished inside the distance. So you should get some kind of a payoff, because Francis has submitted guys. He submitted Anthony Hamilton with the Kimura. He's won with front chokes before. So yeah, and as a matter of fact, Cyril Gans won via leg lock. These guys have got some submission skills. Francis does have a judo background. So that I wouldn't bet the TKO line if it was the same as the money line. That wouldn't make any sense. We got my guy Val Dewar in the room saying, yo, what's up, dude? It's good to see you. Dewar. It's Val Dewar. God damn it. And then I keep fucking up your name, Val. I suck. But it's Dewar, I think. And then we got Monk saying, same here, Daz. And we got Paul saying, Brito and Holmes killed my 10-fight parlay, so I'm scared of these debutantes. Yeah, well, 10-fight parlays are so hard to hit, man. But god damn, if you got 8 out of 10, that's pretty good, dude. About Better saying, I got annihilated, but I did cash Qatar. Well done, cashing Qatar. He fought an amazing fight. Daz File saying, I'm going to take Figgy near fight time and bet on Gone ages. And you bet on Gone ages ago. Nice work. Because you beat some line movement, because the money has all been coming in on Gone. And then Monk saying, if you bet $100 on each of Moreno's 11 UFC fights, your profitability would be plus 887. So that would be 8.87 units up and an 80.67% return on investment. That is a fighter that you love betting on. Those are the kind of guys that you just ride like a train until that train goes off the tracks. That is a great stat. Thanks for bringing it to our attention, Monk. And Paul Brassfield saying, good night for me, other than my 10-fight parlay. Cash Qatar too. Nice. Easiest bet I made in a long time. I couldn't get to a Qatar bet, but you guys, I couldn't get to a Giga bet either, because I was terrified that Qatar could land one big shot and finish Giga. The one outcome I did not see coming was Calvin Qatar fighting an A-plus fight IQ for 25 straight minutes, switching stances, managing distance well, mixing in the wrestling every single opportunity that he had, bringing a fantastic gas tank and preparing properly in order to give him the conditioning in order to drive that pace, in order to never take a step backwards. Everything that he did was just a masterclass to make Giga as uncomfortable as possible. He did it for 25 straight minutes. I can't rave enough about the performance that Calvin Kattar put on Saturday night, you guys. That was a masterclass. I tweeted it out after the fight. I can't believe how good he was. I would have never predicted Calvin Kattar winning that fight by decision. And damn it, he did it. So big ups to the Boston finisher. That was one hell of a performance. And Monk giving us the skinny on what you would make if you would bet $100 on each of Deiveson Figueiredo's fights. And 12 fights, your profitability would be plus 539, almost a 45% return on investment. That is an awesome return on investment. Both of these guys are money trains. Wow. And we got Bout Better saying, I was on Figueiredo by finish their initial bout and Moreno by finish their second meeting. Cashed neither. Moreno did finish the second meeting, so you would have cashed that one, my man. Chris Kalanzis in the room saying, what's up, Uncle Weezy? We're all good here, Chris. Thanks for joining us. We got Dad's File saying, Bout, I managed similar. This time we're getting our money back. And Bout Better saying, I might take Figgy, but finish. He hurt Moreno a lot in their last bout. Yes, he did. And we got Mr. Savage, level 9,000, saying, what's good, Weezy? I'm good, man. Thank you for joining us. And Bobby saying, what is he drinking, LOL? I am drinking a Paloma, which is grapefruit soda, tequila, salt, and a lime wedge is somewhere in here. Yeah, we got the lime wedge kind of like right in the front of the glass there, if you could see that. But yeah, it's a lovely, refreshing beverage at this time of evening. I'm pretending I'm in Mexico on the beaches, enjoying the beautiful scenery and weather, but I live in Chicago. It's freezing fucking cold. So I'm inside in front of my computer talking MMA with you guys, having a drink, pretending I'm on a beach in Mexico. The imagination is a powerful thing, and I like to use it. Bout Better saying, I was shocked at Figueiredo's submission. Yeah, I was. I mean, that's how Brandon finishes people for the most part, is by submission. But that Figueiredo was he just wasn't there that day. Figgy wasn't the same. Yeah, absolutely. Moreno by submission. Yeah. And Savage level 9,000. He has a great camp this time. If his cardio is good, he should run through Moreno. Well, yeah, I tend to agree with you, man. And Monk saying Francis 8 first round KO TKOs. Yeah, dude. Francis is just a monster. He's got fists like canned hams. Bout Better saying everyone is giving a lot of credit to Fight Ready, but who have they produced? They produced Henry Cejudo. They've produced Jonathan Pierce. They're working with Weili Zhang right now. There are a lot of guys coming out of Fight Ready that are very good fighters. I don't want to disrespect Santino DeFranco's camp by not naming all the names, but there are a lot of them. You guys can help me out in the chat. And it started when Cejudo went there and started winning belts like crazy. Triple C was born at Fight Ready. Santino DeFranco and Eddie Shaw do a fantastic job of coaching. And yeah, that's why. Oh, Mark Madsen was there, got the win over Clay Guida. There are a lot of guys that are making their way over there, and a lot of people who have already been training with those guys. We'll see what Vanessa Demopoulos does, because she's on this card as well. And then Brandon Moreno's gym. We got three fighters from Entrim Gym, as far as I know, on this card with Brandon Moreno. And then they're going to be bringing Gennaro Valdez as well, and Vanessa Juarez Gomez. So Vanessa Demopoulos trains at Fight Ready. Silvana Gomez Juarez trains at Entrim Gym. So two really good gyms that are squaring off in this co-main event. And there you go. Finally got it right. It's Dewar. I know it's not Dewar. It's Dewar. And we got Dad's File saying, yeah, so tempting. Francis wins TKO round 1, round 2 is the hedge bet. Yeah, for sure. Bout Better saying, I don't even think they improved. We lie. Victor saying, Figgy looked like shit at the weigh-ins. Yeah, but then he looked incredible at the ceremonial weigh-ins. Yes, he did. I remember that. He looked like he had that spark. So I still don't trust Figgy regardless of what he looks like at the weigh-ins. I hear you, Victor. That's a good point. Monk saying Giga made Qatar look like Max. I know, man, he did, and that's quite a compliment, because Max's performance against Calvin was one of the best of all time. He landed almost 450 significant strikes in that fight. That was a great fight. Yes, it was. Val saying, I wrote an article about Qatar's performance coming out tomorrow. Check it out, y'all. I will check that out, because that was a fucking fantastic performance. Absolutely fantastic. And you guys are absolutely killing it in the chat. I'm afraid that if I read all this, I'll never get back to the stats here. That photo of Giga Cuts is cold. Yeah, for sure, man. Cuban Assassin saying, do you think Francis is a huge star? I don't think the UFC gives a shit if he's champ or not. I think the only superstar at would be Jones at heavyweight. Yeah, I think he's a star, but I don't think he's got a personality like a Conor McGregor or some of these guys that have been long ringing, even like a Colby Covington who has a shtick and you either love him or hate him. I don't know if he's a star like any of those guys, but I think he's absolutely a star. Blood Money MMA Bets in the room saying, Weezy, what's up, brother? Good to see you here, my man. We got Monk saying he should be a gigantic star. Yeah, the way that Ngannou fights, he is absolutely a star, and he's got transcendental power. Lou Betya saying, I can't say the Paloma is my favorite drink, but I can say it's my least favorite drink. What? The least favorite drink is the Paloma? What has the Paloma ever done to you, Lou Betya? Come on, man. This is absolutely refreshing. Just because it's not Scotch, it doesn't have to be Scotch all the time. I like tequila. I like grapefruit soda, a little bit of salt. It's one of my favorite beverages, man. Monk MMA Maddox, Monk saying, great story, good guy, scariest dude in the league. They fucked this up badly. And we've got Bob Better saying, I think the UFC has moved on from John Jones. That's for sure. Blood Money saying, I think Triple C has Figgy in shape, so I bet the over 2.5 at minus 154. I like that bet. B saying, oi, love you, Weezy and the gang. Nice to watch live. Let's make some money. Let's make some money, B. Good to see you in here as usual, my man. We got Savage Level 9,000 saying, literally the only problem was the cardio. His skill and power are much better, I think. I agree that too. Daz saying, I'm not sure names, but Fight Ready have a few wins that showed some nice fight IQ. Yes. Monk saying, I think it's 4 from Entrum. Half the camp. Oh, wow. Yeah. So there might be one more that I'm missing, but Entrum Gym, fantastic gym. And I named 3 of them, but there might be one more that I'm missing. And then we've got UFC betting experience saying Figgy must have a good game plan and cardio is shots, the more eye-catching. Yes. And Moreno don't go anywhere. Figgy by decision is at plus 600. Well, UFC betting experience, I'm glad that I'm not glad that you stole my fire, but I've already bet Deiveson Figueiredo by decision at plus 600 on FanDuel, and I will talk to you guys about why I did that. It's a small bet, but at that line, I just think it's way out of line. Valdez KOs for Vola and scores mad points on DK. Yeah, that dude is a finisher. All 10 of his wins by finish. Monk saying Moreno, Morales. Oh, Morales is Entrum Gym as well, because I know that he's Colombian, so I didn't think that he would be at Entrum, but wow. Okay, fantastic. And then Chris saying, yeah, I think the over is a solid bet if 2.5 rounds. I don't see a finish until 3 or later if so. And we got my guy from Finland here, Jarno Portilla, Finland, stand up, saying, hey, Weezy, I made a profit up 6.2 units last event. Really nice, dude. Well done. Royval decision was best bet, plus 500 for a half unit. Wow. Yeah, and you got bailed out just a little bit there, but at plus 500, Royval is such a good finisher that you got really good value on that one, and big ups for cashing that bet. Big ups for being up 6.2 units, Jarno. Well done. We got, Woo Scotch, says Lou Bet. Yeah, I know he is a Scotch man. Nothing wrong with that. Figgy by decision at plus 600 is a nice place. Is about better. I couldn't agree more. But let's get into these striking stats, you guys. As we've got Figueiredo is actually absorbing more strikes than he lands. He lands 3.24, but absorbs 3.4. And his opponents are throwing more volume than him. His opponents attempt 6.77 significant strikes a minute, while Figueiredo attempts 5.69. Very nice accuracy on Figueiredo striking at 57%. And the power is crazy for a flyweight, you guys. You don't see a lot of heavyweights up around 2% knockdowns per total significant strikes landed. But Deiveson Figueiredo is sitting there as a flyweight. So this is fantastic power. He's landing almost 1 knockdown per 15 minutes. Deiveson Figueiredo will be the guy landing the more eye-catching strikes. Brandon Moreno lands more strikes than he absorbs. He lands 3.44. He absorbs 3.29, and he's attempting more significant strikes per minute than his opponents do. At 8.63 for Moreno, 7.93 for his opponents. The striking accuracy is not even close, as Moreno lands at less than a 40% rate, while it's 57% rate for Deiveson Figueiredo. And it's Figueiredo has the worst striking defense, sitting right at about 50%, while Moreno's striking defense is 58.56%. Both these guys have been knocked down a little bit, basically one time in each of their careers in the UFC. For Brandon Moreno, it's one time in five. Actually, it's one time in 500 significant strikes, and it's one time in 431 for Deiveson. So both these guys getting knocked down about 0.1 times per 15 minutes. Figueiredo's the bigger power puncher, but it'll be Moreno probably throwing more volume. Moreno kind of relies on that snapping jab that he has. It's very nice. It does land. And when he's throwing in combination in the pocket, he does land a lot of nice stuff, but he doesn't have great power. Figueiredo does have great power, but on the flip side of that, you need a shovel to knock out Brandon Moreno. This guy has never been knocked out in his entire career as a pro. He's never even been finished in 26 professional fights, while in 23 professional fights, Deiveson Figueiredo's only been finished once. And it was that version of him, like I say, it just didn't even look like him in that fight against Moreno the second time around in the rematch. So definitely, I would give Figueiredo the striking advantage here because he's way more powerful and he can absorb more than he lands. But when you watch that first fight, he's always the one landing the more eye-catching strikes. And even in rounds where Brandon lands big shots and lands big combinations, they're not getting Figueiredo hurt enough in order for him not to have an opportunity to 30 seconds later land just as big of a flurry as Moreno had just landed 30 seconds earlier. So I do see Deiveson winning minutes on the feet here, you guys. When we look at the grappling statistics, both of these guys have been very successful in the grappling. In 12 UFC fights for Deiveson Figueiredo, he's attempted only 25 takedowns, but he's gotten 13 of them, over 50%. 1.54 takedowns for 15 minutes, and over 2 submission attempts per 15 minutes. So when he gets the fight to the ground, he's very active trying to finish it. And he has gotten 19% control time on those 13 takedowns, and he's allowed 20.71% control time to his opponents. Brandon Moreno has attempted 44 takedowns in 11 fights. So he's been a lot more active with the wrestling, attempting 4 takedowns per fight to only 2 takedowns attempted per fight for Figueiredo. He's getting the takedowns at just a little bit worse of a percentage, but really, when you're getting your takedowns at a 48% clip, that's excellent in the UFC. He gets more takedowns per 15 minutes than Figueiredo does at 2.05 takedowns per 15 minutes. He averages 0.78 submission attempts per 15 minutes, and he is out-controlling his opponents at a 2-to-1 ratio, 24% to 11%. And he is attempting just a few more takedowns than his opponents have in 11 fights. So Brandon Moreno has been very efficient in the wrestling exchanges. He is out-controlling his opponents at that 2-to-1 ratio, like I just mentioned. And his takedown defense is at 66%, while Deiveson Figueiredo's takedown defense is at 59%. So neither one of these guys in the UFC has been very good at defending takedowns thus far. Figueiredo's getting taken down 2.25 times for 15 minutes. Moreno's getting taken down 1.27 times for 15 minutes. But Moreno, on those 13 takedowns, he's been controlled for about 16 minutes. So about just over 1 minute of control time allowed per takedown that he's yielded. And for Deiveson, It's been 20% control time against, so about 24 minutes of control time against in 19 takedowns. So Deiveson is also allowing about 1.2 minutes per takedown of control time per takedown that he yields. So both of these guys can be taken down, but they're not getting controlled for long swaths of the fight. Deiveson Figueiredo's fights are taking place on the feet about 60% of the time, and for Moreno, it's about 65% of the time. So we can't expect these guys to try takedowns. We can't expect them to be on the fence at certain points. They're going to have to rest at certain points in this fight with the output that they put out, with the power that Figueiredo throws, with the amount of takedowns that they're attempting, with the amount of scrambling that they do, submission attempts. So this fight is going to be a hybrid fight where it's taking place standing and on the ground. We did see Brandon Moreno have quite a bit of success with the control time and the takedowns in the rematch when we saw the Figgy that just wasn't certainly there. But in the first matchup, we definitely saw Deiveson landing the bigger shots on the feet. And I'll also say that he had almost as much success grappling as Brandon did. What Brandon's really good at when he's trying to get takedowns is getting that body lock and getting those trip takedowns. That's where he is at his best. It's not when he's shooting single legs or double legs. It's when he gets those trips. And he's very good at it. And those trips are the kind of takedowns that can yield you a lot of control time because it puts your opponent's back flat on the mat when you execute it properly. That being said, Brandon Moreno, not exactly a control time monster here. At about 40 minutes. Well, no, it actually is pretty good. At almost 25% of 153 minutes, he's controlled his opponents about 38 times on 21 takedowns. So, I think if there's one guy that's more likely to have success in the wrestling and win more minutes on the ground with submission attempts and wrestling, it would probably be Brandon Moreno. But I'm giving the striking advantage here to Deiveson Figueiredo because of that crazy power and because of his ability to, not get outlanded by a significant amount by his opponents. Plus, we have to also mention that Brandon Moreno, not exactly a knockdown artist in the UFC. So really having 3 knockdowns in 11 fights, even at this level, is pretty good. But when you look at a guy like Deiveson Figueiredo having 8 knockdowns in 12 fights, it's clear who has the better power here. And when we look at the strength of schedule stats, you guys are almost identical. The ratio at 2.12 for Brandon Moreno and 2.07 for Figueiredo, overall almost identical. Figueiredo fighting just the slightly more experienced opponent here at 10.5 total fights to 9.36 for Moreno. When we look at the wins, I would say that the Figueiredo wins are a little bit better because the ratio is 2.22 to Moreno's 1.91. And he's also fighting the more experienced opponents with about 2 more fights on the aggregate. And then if we look at the losses, I would say Moreno's losses are a little bit better, losing to an average opponent with the record 7-4, while Figueiredo's losing to an opponent that has a 500 record. Those losses for him were to Jussier Formiga and to Brandon Moreno. And Brandon Moreno is 7-2, but Formiga, I guess, not quite as good in that of the record. So that was the first loss for Figueiredo, was against Jussier Formiga. And for Brandon Moreno, I believe his loss in the UFC was to Alexander Pantoja. And I know he had a draw against Askarov. Let's see. The other loss was to Sergio Pettis in a 5-round main event. So, yeah, you guys, if we look at the individual strength of schedule for these guys, I'll just kind of take you through the wins and losses for each of them. So that's Cyril Gane. So let's start here with Brandon Moreno. And we look, he comes in and he fights Louis Smolka, 8-8, beats him. Beats a 3-6 Ryan Benoit, beats an 8-6 Dustin Ortiz by submission. He loses to Sergio Pettis by decision. He loses to Pantoja by decision. He has a draw with Askarov. And then he goes on a winning streak here with Kai Kara France, Jussier Formiga, Brandon Royval, another draw against Deiveson Figueiredo, and then a win against Deiveson Figueiredo. So We see him here getting just a little more control time, doubling up the control time of his opponents. He allows 1,042 seconds, gets 22:51. We see that he's landed the 3 knockdowns, and he's gotten 21 of 44 takedowns that he's attempted. And then if we look at Figueiredo here, we're going to see comes in, gets a win against a 3-3 Marco Beltran, a 2-2 Monkey King in Jared Brooks, a 1-2 Joseph Morales, and then he steps up. He beats John Moraga. Then he has the loss to Juicio Formiga, where he allows 401 seconds of control time to Formiga and gets outstruck 26-14. So, that was the Figgy where we saw him say, you know what, I'm not going to let these guys control me on the ground anymore. And after that, we kind of see the takedown defense of Figueiredo shore up. So let's look here. Let's compare it. Pre-Pantoja and after Pantoja. So the Pantoja fight here, he allows 3 out of 5 takedowns. And then before that, he allows 7 out of 11 to, I believe it was Jared Brooks. So before the Pantoja fight and including the Pantoja fight, Deiveson Figueiredo allowed 10 takedowns on 19 attempts. So his takedown defense was less than 50%. And then after that fight, we see that he allowed 9 takedowns on 27 attempts. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 on 10, 12, 14, 17, 27. Yeah. So he showed his takedown defense went from below 50% to almost 70%. So we've seen him not only stop takedowns at a better rate here, but not give up a ton of control time in any of these fights. Only 4 seconds to Elliott, only 10 seconds to Benavidez, 0 to Benavidez, 37 to Alex Perez, and he was actually choking Perez while he was being controlled. So even though he was on the bottom and attempting a guillotine, those were counting as control time seconds for Perez. Then he gave up 200 seconds of control time to Moreno in the first fight, which is just a little over 13% control time against in that 5-round fight. And then he allowed almost 300 seconds out of 750 to Moreno in the rematch where we just saw the lousy Figgy. So those are the advanced stats. And like I say, all this can be downloaded in the description of the video. And then, so that's what we've got, you guys. It's there's a couple of problems here with betting on this fight right now, in my opinion. One, we don't know how Deiveson is going to look on the scale. Which Deiveson Figueiredo is going to show up? Is it going to be the one from the first fight, or is it going to be the one from the second fight? Because if it's the one from the second fight, this line isn't wide enough. But if it's the one from the first fight, then you're paying too much from Brandon Moreno. Because the only reason Figueiredo lost that fight was because he had a point taken off against Moreno due to 1 nut shot and 1 eye poke. But I think it's also important to remember that Deiveson wouldn't have even gotten that draw unless he had won convincingly the last 10 seconds of the 5th round, which if he hadn't have done that, I don't think he would have won that round. And I think potentially Brandon might have gotten the decision anyway. So even with Deiveson at his best, this is a close fight. But without the point being taken away, I think that might have been Deiveson's fight. And he did, importantly, win the last 15 seconds of that fight to show that he still had something in the gas tank after that rough weight cut, after 5 rounds of Brandon Moreno in that first matchup. So I think that's very important. Here's the thing. I'm picking Figueiredo to win this fight. I think Moreno, if we see the same Deiveson Figueiredo that showed up in the second fight, that Moreno will win this easily. And we have to find out what Deiveson is going to show us here. However, I think there's a great way to play this, and a couple of you guys have already mentioned this in the chat. We see that Deiveson Figueiredo is plus 600 by decision right now on FanDuel Sportsbook. And we look, Brandon Moreno has been in 26 professional fights. He's lost 5 times, and he's been in 2 draws. In those 5 losses, he's never been finished, you guys. So to think that you can get a guy who's almost 50-50 to win this fight and then get him at a 14% implied probability, 14.3%, I think it is, at plus 600. That's the way to bet this. That way you can bet a half unit, only risk a half unit. And if Deiveson Figueiredo does win this fight and he wins it by decision, which is how Brandon Moreno has lost every fight in his career, you're getting rewarded at 6-1, and you can profit 3 units from only a half unit bet. So that is the bet that I am on here. Val is saying Figgy won round 5 because Moreno's wrist was broken. Yes, it was, but Moreno was throwing with that left hand, with that left wrist being broken. He was throwing. He was winning that round. What I'm saying is that Deiveson Figueiredo won the last 10 seconds of round 5, and if he hadn't, Brandon might have won the damn fight. That's what I'm saying here. So thank you, Val, but that is a good point. He did have, I believe, a broken wrist. At least if it wasn't broken, he had a hematoma on it that indicated something was very wrong in there on that left wrist of his. And yeah, that's how the first fight finished. But my pick is going to be Deiveson Figueiredo by decision. However, I don't think I want to risk more than a half unit on that because I don't know if Deiveson's going to have the great weight cut, and I don't know if the move to fight ready is going to be enough of an improvement for him to cleanly win this fight. I think he's going to win the striking exchanges. I think he threatens enough with his jiu-jitsu when he gets taken down in order to not let Brandon win a lot of minutes on the ground, and training with all those killer wrestlers over there, including Henry Cejudo at Fight Ready, I think is going to have him in the, as good a shape as we've seen Deiveson Figueiredo here. And I think that if we get that Deiveson Figueiredo, getting him at plus money is a gift, and getting him at plus 600 by decision is even more than a gift. And I am on that bet. I got a half unit on Deiveson to win this one by decision, plus 600 on FanDuel. I'm not going to catch all of this chat, you guys, because we're already 51 minutes in, but the pick is Figueiredo by decision for me. Chris for the love saying should be a banger regardless, and I'm excited for it. Just see more avenues to win for Moreno, but wouldn't be surprised if Figgy thwarts him and pieces him up with the hands for 5. Yeah, me neither. And Moreno could absolutely win a ton of minutes on the ground here and win a decision here as well. About better saying Figgy has no defensive movement nor good at managing his energy. Yeah, he's that 49.83% striking defense is a statistic that backs up everything that you just said. And about better saying, but that power that Figgy has, if he's fresh, yes, absolutely. And Eric Cote saying, we need a balls deep breakdown for the Cody Stamen versus Saeed Nurmagomedov fight. That's a very interesting stylistic matchup. And there will be one more balls deep breakdown coming this week. It'll be coming on Wednesday. So yeah, maybe that's the one that I'll do. I appreciate the shout there, Eric, and that sounds like a good one to do. Daz File saying Figgy like Francis and that 2 to 4 bursts of crazy in them as the win best option. Yeah. About better saying yes. We got my guy Nigel Lee in the room. Money Bank Lock saying, what's up, y'all? Weezy. Man, my first show back this year, looking for that MMA knowledge, baby. It's good to have you in the room, Nigel. One of my favorite supporters here that's always been with me since the very beginning. Good to see you here. Figure rounds 1 and 2, dangerous, absolutely, with that power. Blood Money MMA bet saying good takedown defense for sure, but I think Moreno found a lot of success on the ground the last fight, and he's definitely going to try that route again, and I think he should, Blood Money, absolutely. Figgy has a decent get-up game. Yes, he does, and he threatens with submissions down there too, which helps him get up. Dad's File is saying, the LOL's parlay Figgy round 1 and 2 and Francis round 1 and 2. I like it. DFS by the number saying the weigh-ins will be so important for this fight, at least to me. Absolutely, me too. It's hard, like I say, if you're on that on the Figueiredo side and you think that Brandon Moreno will never be finished no matter what, and he's got a ridiculous chin, you guys, he does. And Figueiredo is probably not submitting a guy in Brandon Moreno who's as accomplished of a grappler that he is. So when you get to only risk a half unit to win 3, I think that that's such a great way to do it before the weigh-ins, to where you say, even if he does look like shit, then you say, all right, well, you know what? I'm down a half unit here. But at least you're not betting 1 unit or 1.5 units on the money line here, where I think his best win condition is by decision. Yeah, and he's saying not betting Figgy now. Figgy won round 5 because Moreno's wrist was broken. Yes. Eric saying no clear value play in my opinion. Dog or pass for me. I'm kind of with you there, Eric. I'm kind of more on Figueiredo here. About better saying, doesn't Moreno cut a lot of weight too? Yeah, but not as much as Figgy. Williams will tell a lot for sure. DFS, absolutely. Jarno saying, I like to name my parlays. That sometimes results to stupid bets, though. Like in last event, I could not resist to do a parlay with Borshev and Brito. I named it a hot burrito, which of course ended up being bittersweet shit nugget made by Chef Brito himself. I love it, Jarno. Good stuff, man. The hot burrito. And we got Monk saying going to be a heavy DFS this week for sure. Absolutely, man. If Figgy's in the shape his pictures show, I can definitely see Figgy by decision. Chris for the love. Figgy by decision at plus 600 is hard to look away from. LOL. Good luck, Unc. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, dude. Yeah, I couldn't. At plus 600, I had to jump on that for a half unit. Chris saying, great work as always, Unc, and good night to the fellow degenerate family. Good night, Chris. Sleep well, brother. Good to see you in here. Thanks, Uncle. Good luck, everyone. Daz Files, thanks, Weezy, in the chat. Ass shaving parlay of the week I will give you on Tuesday night back here on this channel, 10 o'clock Central Time for just the tip. Abu Dhabi. Victor saying Moreno on rounds 3, 4, or 5 plus 900 on FanDuel. That is not a bad look if Figgy does gas. And Barlos to Puria minus 225. That I like as well. I think both of those guys should absolutely win. And DFS by the numbers saying, good stream, Uncle Weezy. Thank you, DFS by the numbers. Thank each and every one of you guys for hanging out here on Balls Deep Breakdown late night on a Monday night. We're going to cut it off there. My pick is Deiveson Figueiredo by decision, but I wouldn't hate a Brandon Moreno bet either. He's very talented. He's 6 years younger. He's 2 inches taller. He has a 2-inch reach advantage, and he's got the better takedown and game and the better grappling game, and he's the champ. So I got no problem with Moreno bets. I'm very light on this fight, just a half unit right now on the Figueiredo decision prop at plus 600. God bless each and every one of you guys for hanging out on a Monday night on my channel. God bless each and every one of you guys who has liked my videos, watched my videos, subscribed to the channel. I appreciate you all. And I will be back here on my channel tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Central Time. We're going to give you just the tip for the stats for all 13 fights on the UFC Vegas. I'm sorry, on the UFC 270 card coming up this Saturday, headlined by the heavyweight championship of the world fight between Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane. Thank you guys for listening. You guys have a great night. Sleep well, and we will see you right here tomorrow. You guys take care.